I'm Carol Iavana. Here's something you don't see every day. Members of Congress on the Capitol steps reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, protesting today's appeals court ruling making that act unconstitutional. The appellate court in San Francisco is the nation's most overturned because it's the biggest and most liberal. The president wasted no time criticizing the decision, calling it ridiculous. Senate Majority Leader Tom Daschle called it nuts and has asked senators to gather at 9:30 tomorrow morning to recite the pledge. The Democratic Senator Robert Byrd called the judge responsible for the ruling stupid. Legal experts say the decision is certain to be overturned. Despite President Bush's demand for new leadership in the Palestinian Authority, Yasser Arafat says he will run for re-election in January. Arafat's organization is being criticized as corrupt and linked to terrorism. A senior U.S. official says President Bush received intelligence linking Arafat to a homicide attack in Jerusalem as recently as last week. Both fans and pros alike turned out for a memorial service for St. Louis Cardinals pitcher Darryl Kile. They joined the Cardinals and Kile's family at St. Louis Busch Stadium today. Kile died over the weekend, and initial reports say he died of natural causes. More news for you at the bottom of the hour. Stay tuned. The O'Reilly Factor is coming your way next, right here on Fox News Channel.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for watching us tonight. Another huge news day. The Pledge of Allegiance goes down. A grand jury looks at ex-con in the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping case. And some chaos at the Van Dam trial in San Diego. All that upcoming. But first, a short talking points memo. The robber barons strike again. Now, all of us are getting hurt here. The federal government must aggressively investigate these modern-day robber barons. The latest to crash and burn is WorldCom, the second largest long-distance carrier in the world. Executives there cooked the books by more than $1 billion. And while that was going on, former WorldCom CEO Bernie Ebbers borrowed $366 million from the company at little or no interest. Ebbers must be held accountable. The Enron weasels also have to be indicted, along with Gary Winnick, the CEO of the bankrupt Global Crossing Company. While that company was going down, Winnick bought a $95 million home. As much as I dislike his style, Senator Tom Daschle is right. The Security and Exchange Commission has not been aggressive enough holding corrupt corporate chieftains accountable, and Congress has to pass strict new accounting laws. President Bush should address the nation on this issue, and a federal task force should be formed to root out other corrupt white-collar big shots. The American people trusted these corporations. Workers and the elderly invested in pension plans and educational vehicles. We thought the system was honest. We were wrong. We've been hurt. And all because we believed in capitalism and that the federal government would protect us from fraud. Well, that didn't happen. All of us have now been robbed. These are crimes of tremendous magnitude. This corporate fraud is financial terrorism, and it must be punished. The United States is in trouble economically. The stock market is now looked upon with suspicion. The trust between the financial community and the American people has been broken. This is a huge story, and the Bush administration had better deal with it quickly and effectively. And that's a memo. Neil Cavuto will be here with more momentarily, but first, a couple of updates on two criminal cases that are being closely followed. Federal grand jury in Salt Lake City is apparently hearing testimony about Richard Reese in the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping case. That ex-con is under heavy suspicion. Joining us now from Salt Lake City is a man who knows Reese very well. Fred Trujillo was a correctional officer for 7 years at the Utah State Prison, where Reese was incarcerated. Now, Mr. Trujillo, give us a personality profile of this guy. What was he like?
Well, the time that I spent at the Utah State Prison as an officer and as a lieutenant later on, I knew Rick Reese as an inmate. He was manageable, he was cooperative, and basically not a management problem, and didn't appear to have any write-up or disciplinary problems at all.
All right, so he was a follower then. He wasn't a leader, he wasn't aggressive or anything like that.
He was not aggressive. I don't know that he was a leader per se. I think he kind of just blended in.
No, he wasn't a leader, I'm saying. He was placid. He was docile. You didn't have any trouble. You ever talk to the man?
Constantly, all the time. When I was a medium security corridor officer, I interacted with Rick Reese just about every day.
Intelligent guy?
Quite intelligent.
What else would you say about him? Was he a guy who, he's a career criminal. And when you say he's quite intelligent, that always says to me, well, if he's quite intelligent, why is he in jail for half of his life? Any thought on that?
Well, yeah, I know that there's no hiding the fact that I believe Rick Reese had some drug problems. He had some aggressiveness and in his background, in his criminal history. That's why he was in prison. He did 15 years for a negative interaction he had with a police officer where he shot the police officer during a failed robbery attempt. He always came across as someone who was articulate, who was assertive, a little bit animated at times, and again, was not a management problem.
All right. Now, on the night of the kidnapping, you were working security, right, nearby the Smart home, and you saw some activity. Tell us about that.
That's correct. I'm the assistant director of security for Shriners Hospital, Intermountain, and the night of the abduction, as I was doing security rounds, I saw a vehicle pull into our main parking lot. As I was outside, I was approximately 15 or 16 yards away from that individual when he first pulled into our parking lot. I watched him at, it was close to 1 a.m. Usually at that time, because we're a private hospital, because it's private property, those individuals who might stray into our parking lot are lost or looking for directions. I don't believe the individual saw me. I got a good profile look of the individual as he drove through the parking lot. As he continued out through our parking lot, instead of exiting through the main entrance and exit area, he stayed, nestled himself in an area behind some pine trees and made great effort to park his vehicle in that area. He maneuvered his vehicle several times, turned his lights on and off several times. Of course, that's a suspicious act from someone who shouldn't be on our property that late at night. And so I went back into the building and decided to zoom in on his vehicle with my security camera.
Now, did you get a look at his face? Was it Reese?
You know, the person that I saw from his profile when I was about 15, 16 yards away from the individual did not appear to be Rick Reese. I saw a profile. The individual had very thick, dark hair. And as you know, Rick Reese has a very high hairline and long, stringy hair.
Okay. Now, we don't know this guy in your parking lot, whether he's attached to this or not, but the FBI is looking at your videotapes and taking it seriously. We have learned, that a neighbor of Reese's was called before the grand jury today, and apparently this neighbor is going to say that Reese discussed the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping case with him and knew details about the case that startled the neighbor. That's what we're getting. Now, I can't vouch for that. I didn't talk to this guy myself. This is hearsay. So, again, I want to tell the audience we're here and we don't know it's true. This whole thing about Reese, does this stun you that he's being at least suspected of being involved in this case?
It doesn't stun me, no. It doesn't even surprise me. When someone's in prison for such a long period of time, they develop contacts with other prisoners. And when they're on parole, we know that they interact with each other. In addition to 7 years as a correctional officer, I have a total of 17 years in corrections in various capacities. One of those positions I held at one time was with adult probation and parole. We know that these individuals interact with each other. We know that they spend time together. And, of course, that's not allowed according to the parole agreements, but we know that that occurs.
Yeah. So you're saying that maybe more than one person involved here in this thing that happened maybe at your plant there could have been signals and things like that. Very intriguing, Mr. Trujillo. We appreciate you coming on the broadcast. And we will tell everybody that Greta Van Susteren is going to talk to Reese's wife a little bit later on, so stick around for that. And now let's go to San Diego, where a judge has ordered Damon Van Dam to stay away from his own daughter's murder trial. A startling ruling. Joining us now, Carrie Steigerwalt, an attorney is closely following the case. So, Counselor, tell us about this case and why the ruling was made.
Well, I admit it's an incredible ruling, but it's made by one of the top jurists on the San Diego Superior Court. He's a no-nonsense jurist. He's a judge who will not stand for any shenanigans in his courtroom, and he had warned the Van Dams earlier, particularly Damon Van Dam, the father, about this mad-dogging or evil eye expression he was conveying to Westerfield and Westerfield's attorney. And then finally, the bailiff yesterday saw him pounding on the door and knocking on the door, so he
knocking
walked
on
out
what door, Counselor? Knocking on what door?
On the door of the courtroom, and asked Damon Van Dam what it is. He wanted that we were in session outside the presence of the jury, and he said, I just want to let him know, meaning Westerfield, the defendant, that I'm out here. The bailiff reported that to the judge, and the judge said at that point he had had enough. He was going to bring him in. He was going to tell him, and he did tell him. He said, I don't care about the disdain you have for Westerfield. I can even understand it as a father or his lawyer. I can understand that disdain, but I'm not going to put up with any of that in my courtroom. From now on, you're barred until further notice from
So he
the
can't,
third floor.
this man then, Van Dam, can't even hear the testimony in his own daughter's murder trial.
Well, he can't hear it directly. He could hear it. It's being broadcast locally live and on court TV, but no, he cannot sit there in the courtroom and experience it.
That's
no.
interesting. Now,
well, you know, it's kind of gut-wrenching.
Yeah. What kind of toll has the defense's tactic of tearing the Van Dam family apart for their, let's say, flamboyant lifestyle? What kind of toll do you believe that's taken on the family?
Well, maybe coming back to bite him, because if you're putting lifestyle in issue, what happened today was the unveiling of a tremendous amount of child pornographic material that came in through the prosecution's case in chief, and it's directly pointed at Westerfield, saying that this is all Westerfield's material. This is the motive behind the abduction and the killing. And the jury, when it was first introduced yesterday at the close of business yesterday, there were two visible guttural reactions by two of the jurors.
It's really vile stuff, huh?
Well, I haven't seen it myself, but I have seen like cases to that, and it produces a response that's just absolutely abhorrent.
And this stuff has been linked directly to Westerfield, who is on trial for murdering the little girl, the 7-year-old girl.
You know, I'm going to say yes with a caveat that a forensic detective said, I cannot sit here and tell this jury that we can prove to you he viewed this material, but it was found in and amongst his materials. It has certain signatures
found in his home.
that relate to him.
Yeah, it was found in his home.
Found in his home, right.
Yeah, okay.
Categorized in a
we don't know if he
particular
saw it, but it's in his home. Well, that'll sway a jury one way or another. Okay, Counselor, we appreciate the update, and please check in with us if anything else happens. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ahead, we'll confront Neil Cavuto about the massive corruption on Wall Street. And then later on, a federal court says the Pledge of Allegiance is unconstitutional. What? Right back with those reports.
Agile all-wheel drive Saturn Vue. At home in almost any environment.
Whether they wear a tool belt or a necktie, SBC's nearly 190,000 employees, many of them third generation, are just working people, working their tails off, just so you can get on the phone and ask what's for dinner, or say ship 5,000 widgets to my warehouse. Most people take the old dial tone for granted. We don't. You can't. Ordinary people, extraordinary job, infinite character, SBC.
Other airline credit cards give you 1 mile for every dollar you spend. But only the Delta SkyMiles credit card from American Express gives you that. Plus, you'll always get double miles at supermarkets, drugstores, and on Delta tickets. On top of 5,000 bonus miles just for getting the card. Watch how quickly all those extra miles add up to your free vacation travel. We can't say the Delta SkyMiles credit card is twice as good as other airline credit cards, but you might. Call 1-800-SkyMiles to apply now.
Your typical airline credit card gives you 1 mile for every dollar you spend. But only the Delta SkyMiles credit card from American Express gives you that. Plus, you'll always get double miles at gas stations, home improvement stores, and on Delta tickets, on top of 5,000 bonus miles just for getting the card. Watch how quickly all those extra miles add up to your free vacation travel. The Delta SkyMiles credit card, faster than your typical airline credit card. Call 1-800-SkyMiles to apply now.
The Impact segment tonight, another wild day on Wall Street, and it's getting ridiculous. As we said in the talking points, almost every American is suffering because of corrupt companies that have cooked the books. The latest is WorldCom, the second largest long-distance carrier in the world. The question is, what should President Bush do about these modern-day robber barons? Joining us now is Fox News business czar Neil Cavuto. All right, I'm pointing you, President of the United States. Very frightening thought. What would you do?
No more frightening than you running the country. But I'd say you want to be out front of this. You want to make sure that the SEC is on top of it, that the pursuit that you already have of Arthur Anderson is continuing along. I don't support your view for some national commission to go into this or start blue ribbon panels to start pursuing something. Task force don't work. They don't work. I
want to explain to the audience that we were on the Radio Factor today, Cavuto and I. It was his big break. And I said I did two things. Number one, if I were President Bush, I'd do a speech to the nation. You know, I want a chat. Say, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is how serious. To show the nation, look, we're taking this seriously. And number two, I'd appoint a federal task force under the aegis of the Justice Department to basically look into other things that go on. And I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree, but it would be more psychological than anything else.
It might be, but I just know the history of task forces, blue ribbon commissions, special panels. They don't get it done. And first of all, a task force that would even have even one federal entity on it. The government isn't very good at just policing itself. I'll be damned if I see it starting to police
I put law
others.
enforcement people in. But when you say getting it done, getting what done? What would you do? You got to hang these guys?
Well, what you got to focus on, Bill, are the ones that are guilty of impropriety and switching and changing their books. We're already seeing, at least by recent standards, these guys being penalized very quickly. First of all, a lot of them are wiped out along with the crash. And secondly, the companies that are left over are left in ruins.
Yeah, but
and wait a minute,
and the lesson, how long has that been going on?
And the lesson from all of this, as I was saying, will be the companies that have suspect books in this new accounting environment are going to make sure, sure, that their books aren't suspect.
These weasels are smart, okay? They loot the company. All right, this Winnick of Global Crossing loots the company. Bernie Ebbers of WorldCom,
if all of that's proven, Bill, if all of that's proven, they will go.
No, but what I'm saying is they're shrewd and they're surrounded by lawyers. And look, this Ebbers guy took $355 million in loans, which I'm sure he didn't have any interest on. Just took them. You know what that is? Interest at 5%.
Well, there's a guy who hopes,
$17.5 million a year.
But there's a guy who hopes that the company goes belly up because that loan just disappears.
That's right.
Now,
it disappears anyway. He's got no
wait a minute. What I'm saying is then go after the companies that are with the sloppy books. And we're already seeing that happening as we speak.
So it's quick enough for you. It's quick enough for you. See,
it's not running at a rocket pace, but you know how this goes, Bill. I think the fact of the matter is we're thinking these are old companies, but they're only the tip of the companies. I mean, the vast majority and the Fortune 500 companies, the Russell 2000, 5,000, 7,000 companies are by vast majority sound.
But it doesn't matter because Americans have lost confidence in the whole thing.
Forces and commissions,
Wouldn't you agree with me? Wouldn't you agree with me that the average American investor has lost confidence in the street right now?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's what's important.
But I don't think President Bush standing on a pulpit and then jawboning this to change is going to change anything. I do believe you tighten up the SEC rules. I do believe you make corporations and boards more accountable.
Senator Daschle said today that the head of the SEC isn't being aggressive enough. Now, I know you got this guy in your program.
Harvey Pitt. I would agree with that.
All right? He's not being aggressive enough. You're going to grill Pitt? Well, you got him on tomorrow?
Absolutely. I would agree with that. I think what has to happen, we have some good, sound rules and laws in place. We just never enforce them and never coordinate them.
There's more than that. These wise guys have found a way around the rules. They found a way around it.
But
that Arthur Andersen thing was just like that. They almost beat it.
Bill, everything comes home to roost. I really do believe that what comes down hard. We're seeing it now. And the
Hang
process
Martha
is
Stewart, right? Hang her high? Hang Martha Stewart?
Why do you hate Martha Stewart?
I don't hate her. But when I wrote the O'Reilly Factor book 4 years ago, I told you in that book, this woman, I don't want anybody...
Hey, wait a minute, nothing's been proving that.
All right,
you
fine.
hung this woman out to dry.
Yeah, well, you go live next door to her. I don't want anybody...
You?
I said, you go live next door to her.
No, we're not talking about her personality. We're talking about you indicted her on air.
I haven't indicted her.
Yes, you have.
I said if.
You've been envisioning her in prison.
My job is to connect the dots, all right? Your job is to be a pinhead.
Your job is to wait to connect the dots when you have all the facts.
I'm not waiting at all.
You've indicted her. You've indicted her.
She sold her stock one day before it tanked after a conversation with the CEO
you just said
and
she's
her
guilty.
friend.
You just said she's guilty.
Look, I'm saying what she did.
I'm saying
Court of law is something else.
I'm saying give it time.
Phooey. Neil Cavuto, thanks very much. Next on the rundown, the Pledge of Allegiance is out. Federal court says it's unconstitutional. We'll challenge that, and we have evidence.
This program is brought to you by Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Afraid to face your retirement plan? Sun America can help. Just ask your financial advisor. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
Wherever you choose to travel in the totally new 2003 Ford Expedition, and no matter how unfriendly the traffic gets, you will be surrounded by the protection of dual front airbags, plus the only safety canopy system available in a full-size SUV. The The totally new 2003 Ford Expedition, because safety should have no boundaries.
If you're 55 or older and don't have a prescription insurance card, Walgreens has important news for you.
You could be eligible to earn a 10% cash credit each time you fill a prescription at Walgreens. Just get a free senior dividends card. Call toll-free 1-866-522-8047 or sign up at walgreens.com. The card is absolutely free. There are no membership or other fees.
The 10% cash credit I get on my car credits me with hundreds of dollars each year that I can spend on other things.
I like the idea that I can spend whatever credits I've accumulated on my card to buy anything, anytime, at any Walgreens, anywhere.
Somebody finally found a way for Medicare patients like me to save money. Thank you, Walgreens.
Get Walgreens' new exclusive senior dividends card now. Call 1-866-522-8047 for more information or to talk to a Walgreens pharmacist.
Is your retirement plan under attack? Sun America can help. Just ask your financial advisor. Sun America, the retirement specialist.
We've got the cars you love to drive, like Mercedes-Benz and Lincoln Mercury too. And we've got service that'll really make you smile. Our selection's great. Come see us today, don't hesitate. At Valley Motors, we've got the cars you love to drive. Salem.
Hi, it's Pam Paulette at City Liquidators Furniture Warehouse, where you'll find a great selection on children's furniture like metal bunk beds at $129 or this Sweetheart bunk bed at $199. What about a futon bunk bed? Only $189. Or this Mission Wood bunk bed for $349. Save money on mattresses like twin mats from $59 or a queen pillow top mattress and box, both pieces only $399. City Liquidators saves you money.
In the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, say goodbye to the Pledge of Allegiance, at least for now. A federal court of appeals in San Francisco has overturned a 1954 act of Congress that inserted the phrase, under God, in the Pledge of Allegiance. Joining us now from Washington is Jeanine Raskin, a professor of law at American University. And what I'm concerned about, Professor, is that this ruling violates the spirit of the founders. You remember in the Declaration of Independence the words, all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and obviously those rights don't extend to mentioning God in a public school. What say you?
Well, the First Amendment to the Constitution, which is our governing document, forbids the government to establish a religion. Remember, we're not talking about banning the Pledge of Allegiance, as I think you said before. We're talking about going back to the original Pledge of Allegiance as it was written in 1892 by Francis Bellamy, which didn't have the words under God. Those were added by Congress.
But what right does this pinhead judge out in San Francisco, it was a 2-to-1 decision, 80-year-old guy, have to take the words under God out when the spirit is driven by the Founding Fathers? As you know, they had chaplains, the Creator, and all of that thing.
Thomas Jefferson
he's basically twisting the law, because this doesn't establish religion. You know it doesn't. It just mentions the deity. That's all it does.
Well, the Supreme Court has said that it violates establishment to have organized prayer in the classroom, at graduation, on the football field.
Not a prayer.
This is dictated by the logic of those decisions. Let me ask you, well, why do we need to have those two words? Isn't it enough to have patriotism towards the flag?
You know why we need it?
Republic?
Because it's basically a violation of my freedom of speech to have this judge, who I believe is anti-religion, impose his will that you can't mention the deity in any kind of public discourse. That violates my rights. And I'm going to quote Chief Justice Warren Burger. Wait a minute. Chief Justice Warren Burger in 1983, when the Supreme Court voted 6-3 to allow the state of Nebraska to open their legislative session with a prayer. Here's the ruling. The Establishment Clause does not always bar a state from regulating conduct simply because it harmonizes with religious concerns. Because of the principles upon which this nation was developed, religion has become part of the fabric of society The offering of a prayer is tolerable acknowledgement of beliefs widely held among the people of this country. This isn't even a prayer. This is just a mention of a deity. This is going to be overturned, this pinhead ruling by this judge in San Francisco, by the Supreme Court, based on Berger in 1983. Go ahead.
Well, Levy, I mean, that's not a controlling precedent in this respect. But let me tell you, if any student wants to say the words under God voluntarily as a matter of their private choice, they have every First Amendment free speech right to do so. And I would gladly take the case of any student who adds the words under God who gets punished for doing so. All this decision says is the government itself cannot require teachers to lead kids in a prayer with the words under God. And you've got to look at it from the minority perspective here, an atheist or a non-believer or someone from a different point of view. That's what the founders were concerned with. Thomas Jefferson talked about a wall of establishment.
The founders were not concerned with that. The founders were concerned with everybody's rights.
A wall of separation between the church and state.
No. The founders were not concerned with the minority rights. They were concerned with everybody's rights. And this is a violation of every American who sees this country in a historical context that it was.
The court says today, if you can say under God, you can say under Jesus Christ or under Krishna. Do you agree that it would be okay?
I wouldn't. If that was that localized, I would say no. The deity, yes. We got to run, Professor. We appreciate your point of view.
My
Supreme
pleasure.
Court will overturn. And the factor will continue in a moment. We hope you stay tuned.
Hello, Imagistics. Our copy machine isn't working.
What's going on?
Imagistics service call. Machines are down.
Imagistics down? No way.
For over 25 years, corporate America has relied on us, Imagistics, providing dependable office document equipment and unparalleled service.
What is a good object? Object must have emotion, meaning, spirit, love. This is not a toy car. It's joy. This is more than a playhouse. It's discovery. This is not a lamp. It's inspiration. This is elegance. This is more than a chair. It's liberation. Target and Stark, together we create design for everyone.
When we made the first portable PC, we were way ahead of our time. We still are. Take this compact Presario 2800T notebook. Thin, light, powerful. With the mobile Intel Pentium 4 processor M, you get all that and longer battery life. It's also got hot swappable drives, and this week you can save $150 instantly. So it's just $12.99. You just call 1-888-271-1430 to get yours now. Our notebooks keep getting thinner and lighter. Sure wish I was.
Travelocity can.
Travelocity can help me find the perfect place for my wedding.
Introduce me to Unagi.
Help me rediscover my father.
Make sure that we don't miss the Aurora Borealis.
Travelocity can.
Find me a great race to New York. Show me where to find a penguin.
Give me tools to plan.
Tools to save.
Tools to make my trip better.
Travelocity can turn a wishful thought
into reality.
Visit or call Travelocity.
They were outnumbered.
We all knew that we were going to die.
Outmaneuvered.
They had roughly 120,000 people after us.
And nearly out of hope.
People's fingers and hands and arms and feet just rotting off.
For American soldiers, the fight for the frozen chosen became the bloodiest battle in Korea. It's a story of bravery, courage, and true sacrifice. Hear the chilling accounts behind the forgotten war from the men who can never forget. Join Oliver North for War Stories, a Fox News Channel special.
In fact, a follow-up segment tonight in New USA Today. CNN Gallup poll says that 4 out of 5 Americans favor military action against a country that is aiding terrorists who target Americans. Joining us now from Los Angeles is Rohan Gunaratne, the author of Inside Al-Qaeda, Global Network of Terror. Mr. Gunaratne has interviewed hundreds of Al-Qaeda members, probably knows the organization as well as anybody on this planet. All right, Osama bin Laden, you think he's alive?
Yes, he is alive.
You're sure he is alive?
Yes, we are certain that he is alive.
And where is he?
He is on the Afghan-Pakistan border. That is the only area that he could survive.
What should Americans do? What should the American military and CIA do to bring him to justice?
He is the center of gravity of Al-Qaeda, and he must be captured or assassinated. And for that, the U.S. military and the intelligence community must work with the Pakistani intelligence agencies and the Pakistani security forces.
Do you think Musharraf knows where he is? The head of Pakistan, Musharraf?
Musharraf would have an idea as to the terrain he is operating.
All right, so Musharraf basically is protecting him then?
No, he is not protecting him. In fact, if Al-Qaeda could assassinate Musharraf, they will do that because Musharraf has done significant damage to Al-Qaeda and to the host of Al-Qaeda, that is the Taliban.
But why isn't there a sweep now in the area that you've pinpointed? Because we know, we've heard that this is the case. Why isn't there a sweep by U.S., British, and Pakistani forces to capture him right now?
It's because the terrain is so vast. It's a 1,500-mile-long border. And the people who live in that border, they are tribal chiefs, tribal warlords, and they support Osama bin Laden.
All right, so you say that he's living in some kind of cave somewhere or some kind of small house protected by these people. It's hard to pinpoint where he is.
Absolutely, because it's a vast area. And that is the area where he has lived for at least 10 years during the Soviet period and immediately after that. And he has a significant following in that area.
Okay, now he used to communicate by cell phone. He doesn't anymore because we could pick up the cell phone signals. How is he getting the word out to his followers around the world?
He used to communicate by satellite phone. In fact, a satellite phone that he purchased from Deer Park in New York. But what we are seeing is that after 9/11, his communication has been mostly through human couriers, that is Al-Qaeda members, Al-Qaeda supporters taking messages from Osama bin Laden and meeting other important leaders of Al-Qaeda.
All right. Now, this guy Padilla, who we picked up in Chicago, do you believe that he was in contact with bin Laden and his minions?
He was in contact with Abu Zubaydah, the director external operations of Al-Qaeda, who has since been captured by the
Right, that's how we got on to Padilla. So Padilla was a player then. You're saying that he was involved with Al-Qaeda?
Oh, yes, he was. In fact, he was one of the Al-Qaeda operatives who was supposed to plan and prepare an attack against the United States.
All right. Are there many Al-Qaeda agents within the United States right now? We keep hearing about a 4th of July terror threat. Are there people here now?
Al-Qaeda has a significant support base both in Western Europe and North America. And of course, these support cells primarily disseminate propaganda, recruit supporters and members.
No, but I mean terrorist guys. I mean guys. And by the way, are you convinced Moussaoui was involved with the 9/11 terror attack?
Definitely. In fact, Moussaoui's computer had sufficient information that that makes us believe that he was a part of the 9/11 operation.
Do you think he'll be convicted?
Yes, he will be. Definitely he will be convicted.
All right. But do you believe now that there are people like Moussaoui in this country at large that could do damage to us? Are they here now?
Yes, there are Al-Qaeda sleeper cells in the United States.
And how much of a threat are they?
Significant, but they cannot conduct operation of the scale of 9/11 because a large-scale operation will require long-term planning, and they will become vulnerable if they conduct a long-range operation that requires intense planning.
I got it. All right, Mr. Gunaratto, we appreciate it. Thank you very much. Next, spanking your kids. The experts say it's very bad for them, and you shouldn't do it. That report when we come back.
Everyone, I'm Carol Iavana. The Palestinian Authority says it's ready to make some changes the Bush administration says are necessary for the future of a possible Palestinian state. Greg Palcott has more in Gaza City.
Just 2 days after President Bush's call for democratic reforms in the Palestinian Authority and an announcement from the authority, Chief Palestinian negotiator Saeb Erekat saying there would be new presidential and parliamentary elections come next January. He also described a host of changes to the Palestinian Authority security agencies, justice system, and financial institutions. Erekat claimed at least they hadn't been pushed.
Many of you may think, are we submitting this or saying this in response to President Bush's speech? We're saying this in response to Palestinian needs.
One big question, will Palestinian Authority President Yasser Arafat meeting today with the Russian Mideast envoy in his compound in Ramallah run for re-election? One top Palestinian Authority minister said absolutely that Arafat told him directly that he would be. The Palestinian Authority's information boss said he had not heard that yet. President Bush is clearly calling for a change in Palestinian leadership. In Gaza City, Greg Falcott, Fox News.
Another update for you at the bottom of the hour. The O'Reilly Factor continues after the break right here on Fox News Channel. Stay with us.
Oh no, those ugly weeds. You bend and yank. Now your back is about to crack. Then the weeds just keep growing back. Not anymore. Introducing D-Weeder, the revolutionary way to pull out weeds and their roots while you're standing. Watch up close. D-Weeder removes the weed and the root every time. Just attach it to any standard drill. Place the tip at the base of the weed, then easily spin out unwanted weeds. It's that simple. Now remove stubborn weeds from your flower beds in an instant. Quickly pull out weeds from decorative rocks without ever bending over. Or spin out weeds next to a cactus and never get stuck by a prickly thorn again. And watch this. D-Weeder uproots poison ivy and vines right off a wooden fence. The magic is a patented steel design that entangles the entire root system, then lifts and pulls it all out, so the weed is gone for good. It's even strong enough to pull out the deep roots of this giant weed. Hey, toxic oversprays can kill your plants, but not D-Weeder. It removes the weed without harming your flowers. Whether it's gravel and stone, hard-to-reach places, potted plants, landscape rock, or the front lawn, D-Weeder pulls the weed and their roots while you're standing. It even cultivates and aerates soil, great for flower beds or gardens. So stop bending over for weeds and breaking your back. Call now and receive the amazing D-Weeder for just $19.95. But wait, there's more. We'll also include these powerful pruning shears free. Stainless steel blades cut right through metal or prune the thickest tree branches with ease. Yours free. And here's a super value. If you call right now, we'll double your order. You get a second D-Weeder and a second powerful set of pruning shears absolutely free. Together, they're a $60 value. All yours for only $19.95. So call now.
Call 1-800-929-6161 and order the D-Weeder for just $19.95 plus $6.95 shipping and handling. You'll easily remove weeds while standing. So call now.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Bill O'Reilly in the Personal Story segment tonight. According to all the polls, most Americans believe that spanking is an effective tool in disciplining children. But a new study published this month says that children who are consistently spanked often grow up to be aggressive, antisocial, and chronically defiant. A study comes on the heels of some schools across the country banning competitive games like dodgeball and tag because they hurt the self-image of children, or so the principals say. So what the heck's going on? Joining us now from Tampa, Florida, is child and family psychologist, Dr. Ruth Peters, and from Los Angeles, psychiatrist, Dr. Carol Lieberman. Should America, Dr. Lieberman, adopt the law that some Western Europe countries have adopted, that spanking children is illegal?
Absolutely, although it's pretty sad that we have to pass a law to say something that should be self-evident. Parents lie to themselves when they say that they're spanking for the benefit of the child. It's really for their own benefit because they're angry, they're out of control, their children are disrupting their day, and they don't want to take the time to do discipline that actually would take longer, but would entail things like talking to the child, giving them time out, and would be a lot more effective and less harmful.
How many children do you have, doctor?
I have one.
All right. How old is that child?
Oh, she's a teenager.
All right. And no problem? You don't have any problem with her or anything like that?
No, she's wonderful, but I spanked her once in my life. And I felt terrible afterwards, and that was when she was about 3 or 4, and she started going across the road.
Yeah.
And I was so panic-stricken that I took that
But that was a legitimate use of spanking, was it not?
Well, I was out of control. I actually was so frightened that I took it out on her, and I never spanked her again. And I think that parents need to really examine their own reasons for why they're doing
All right.
this.
And it's a valid point. I think that any parent who spanks and hits their child out of anger is doing themselves and their child a terrible disservice. However, I can't believe that you would want the state to intrude on the child, upbringing process that parents in America have. Now, that seems to me to be a very dangerous thing to do.
Well, I agree with that, but, we do have laws already about child abuse. That's not allowed.
The difference between spanking and abuse, as you know.
Well, it's a very fine line, because when parents are spanking, they really are out of control.
That's not true, doctor, and you know it. I mean, there are some parents that can give a little whack on the butt as a reminder to a child, and that's certainly not abuse, and it's certainly not out of control. Am I wrong, Dr. Peters?
No, but I think that, first of all, you cannot legislate morality. And I believe that the study you're talking about is saying that little ones, 2, 3, 4 years old, you can do a little pat to the hand, a little pop to the butt. But I'm not advocating spanking as a first line. What I'm saying is what the study is saying is that if you're chronically spanking your kids, they're going to grow up to be angry.
No, the study isn't saying that, though. It doesn't say chronically. It says that almost all spanking has a deleterious effect on children. That's what the study says.
If it does... Okay, Bill, what I have found as a mom myself of 2 and as a psychologist for a gazillion years is that it generally is not very effective. And smart parenting means figuring out what will get your child's behavior, and the whole point of it is to either change the child's attitude or behavior.
The study says it is effective, spanking, because it does stop the antisocial behavior of the child in its tracks. Now, it also says that it builds up resentment in the child and that the child becomes overly aggressive as the child gets older. But it is effective in stopping whatever conduct that the parent feels deserves this kind of punishment. Now, you know...
Short-term stopping.
Exactly.
Short-term stopping, Bill, not the long-term. And what we're trying to do as psychologists is to change long-term negative attitudes and long-term behaviors. And you have to use a lot of positive reinforcements, a lot of negative consequences. You know, Bill, you got to hit them where it hurts, and it's usually not with your hand. It's in the wallet. It's turning off the
I'm going to give you my theory in a minute, but I still want to debrief you guys. Now, Dr. Lieberman, would you not concede that there are all kinds of different children, all right? There are some children who are very easy to control by parents, and there are some demon seeds. I mean, and we don't really know why. I mean, I was like that as a kid. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't setting people on fire, but I was doing annoying things. And if there weren't boundaries, strict boundaries, I'd be in the penitentiary right now, Dr. Lieberman. I guarantee you.
Well... You know, the thing is, yes, some children are born with an easier temperament than others.
Correct.
But parents just have to deal with that. If you're born with a child who is more difficult, more defiant to start out with, then you have to set more boundaries, but that doesn't include physically hurting them.
Well, wait a minute now. Most responsible parents will start out with the timeouts and start out with you can't go out to play with your friends and start out with that, but some kids will not respond to anything.
That's not true. You just have to take a long
Every kid that you're saying, Dr. Lieberman, will respond to non-corporal punishment. Every kid.
That's right.
Do you believe with that, Dr. Peters?
I believe if you think out of the box and you're creative enough and you have enough self-control yourself, you can get just about any kid to stop and think if the consequence is important enough to them and not necessarily smacking them.
All right, I'm going to throw out something to you guys, and you can both answer it. Now, I believe that, and I write about this in the Factor book, that the father particularly has to be respected and feared somewhat in the home by the children. All right? Now, I know the liberals go crazy, but I believe that. And I'll tell you why. There are children who, for whatever reason, will put other children in jeopardy. For example, they'll hit their little sister, okay? Or they'll do something in the house that's dangerous. You yourself said that, Dr. Lieberman, running across the road. And I think in those circumstances, when there's danger involved to the child itself or to another sibling, that corporal punishment in that area is allowable and responsible. Go ahead, Dr. Lieberman.
What you need to do is take the child out of that situation. I mean, sometimes you can't stand in the middle of the road, for example, and reason with the child about why they shouldn't be there. You need to take them out
obviously, physically, but you can't take the baby sister out of the house, you know, doctor? And if the baby sister's getting clocked on by a 5-year-old, you got to stop it.
But you can separate them at that time, and you can explain to the 5-year-old, and you can supervise them.
All right, I think you're living in the land of Oz, Dr. Lieberman. Dr. Peters, I'm giving you the last word.
Okay, what I want to say is I like your word fear, but I'm not thinking about fear of getting smacked. I'm saying fear of, Dad or Mom's going to do something.
Right. I'm not talking about getting smacked. I'm talking about your life taking a turn for the worse by Dad. That's what I'm talking about.
Bill, I actually agree with you this time. I actually agree with you this time.
Well, Dr. Lieberman, again, you're in Los Angeles, and you guys, you know how you are out there.
No, well, I'm from New York. But the thing is, children have enough things to be frightened about in this world, from terrorism to bullies in the schoolyard.
Well, you know what?
They don't need to
I'll
be
take
frightened
that
at
fear
home.
away. I'll be the kid's protector, but they'll fear me. Hey, doctors, we appreciate it very much. We'll let the audience decide, as always. Thank you very much for an interesting conversation.
Enjoyed it, Bill.
Upcoming, the governor of Oklahoma, a Catholic, has been selected to hold the church accountable for crimes against children. Apropos is what we're talking about. We'll talk with Frank Keating when we come back.
So what do you think? Oh, Bill's afraid of termites, so we had the entire home made of concrete.
Comfortable. Here's a better idea. The Terminex Lifetime Protection Plan covers repairs on any new termite damage. Call 1-800-TERMINEX.
3 outspoken Fox News personalities come together for a unique new look at the world. Bill O'Reilly's hard-hitting commentary, Geraldo Rivera with in-depth investigations, and host Shepard Smith present The Pulse, a Fox Network news magazine, premiering Thursday, July 11th.
You're invited to the grooviest, mind-blowing, far-out happening of the summer. Fox Movie Channel Summer Camp 2002. All summer long, the swingingest.
Come in, Myra.
Craziest, campiest movies from 20th Century Fox.
Let me have it! Up yours, Ratso.
Summer Camp 2002. All summer long, every Saturday night at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific on Fox Movie Channel.
Hi, Pam Paulette at City Liquidators Furniture Warehouse. Join me for a quick tour of our fabulous selection of furniture and accessories. City Liquidators is 5.5 football fields full of furniture. That's a lot of furniture. Brand name furniture, new in a box. It's fun, it's funky, totally wild and crazy. You gotta see it to believe it. Our customers tell us there's no other store like it in the world. Whether it's for your home or office, City Liquidators has something for everyone. We're celebrating 25 years of great deals, so come join the fun at City Liquidators Furniture Warehouse.
We're not out to save your marriage, just your home decor. Designing for the Sexes. Thursdays at 9, 8 Central on HGTV. After 6 years of apartment life, it finally hits her. No more downstairs neighbors. House Hunters. Thursdays at 10, 9 Central on HGTV.
A beautiful fireplace is always in style, and Gordon's Fireplace Shop and Home Decor has the best of everything for your fireplace. Gordon's seasonal sale of gas fireplaces, logs, screens, fine home furnishings, and grandfather clocks are on sale at half off. Looking for the barbecue that lasts a lifetime? Visit Gordon's for the famous Duquesne stainless steel barbecue. Buy your last barbecue first. Duquesne at Gordon's Fireplace Shop at Northeast 33rd and Broadway. Gordon's Fireplace Shop, open 7 days a week.
Hi, Portland. I'm Rick with Empire Glass. Let Empire Glass replace your cracked windshield and we'll still pay up to $100 of your comprehensive insurance deductible. And we'll now give you 24 free dinners to Sherry's, the #1 family restaurant and pie bakery in Oregon and Washington. And we'll even give you a certificate for a free 14-karat diamond pendant necklace with any windshield replacement. So for the highest in quality windshields, call Empire Glass today at 503-251-9881. When you think glass, think Empire.
Back in the book segment tonight, the American Catholic Church has adopted a tough new policy that holds abusive priests immediately accountable for any sex crimes against kids, but the church has not done anything to the powerful bishops that allowed pedophile priests to roam at will. Joining us now from Oklahoma City is the governor of Oklahoma, Frank Keating, who is also the new chairman of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops National Review Board. And Governor Keating is a Catholic. Now, a lot of Catholics in the United States are still angry at Cardinal Law, Cardinal Mahoney of Los Angeles, Cardinal Egan of New York, and other bishops who simply turned their back on children. Are you going to do anything? You're going to investigate those men? What are you going to do, Governor?
Well, let me answer this way very briefly, Bill. I'm angry, too. I don't think anybody who saw what came out of Dallas was satisfied that individual low-level clergymen were identified for action, and yet the prelates were not. I think that was a terrible blunder, both political and actual. It shouldn't have been done. But I think what Bishop Gregory and these courageous bishops, and most of them are wonderful men, most clergymen, as you know, are wonderful, decent servants. But what these bishops did in appointing a lay board is to say to that lay board, we want a report every year from you telling us who's doing right, who's doing wrong. We're going to identify bishops who are doing wrong. They also want us to examine why it is we got to this point, and we're going to examine the bishops, the prelates' role in that. So I think those of us who care deeply about the Catholic Church, about our Catholic faith, I think we should be satisfied with the courageous leadership of Bishop Gregory and the independence
Yeah, but
he's
there's a
given this
problem
board.
with that. You know, you're putting a little happy face on it. Here's the problem with that. Number one, the latest poll shows that 50% of Americans, Catholic and non-Catholic, have a negative opinion of the Catholic Church. So it's obviously lost its moral authority in this country, which is a tremendous blow, because whether you're Catholic or not, you need the Catholic voice in the life issues and in a lot of other issues. You need to hear their point of view. Now that's shattered. And as long as the Laws and the Mahoneys, and to some extent Egan, I'm still trying to get a figure on the Egan thing in New York, as long as you have them unpunished and still running around, people are going to say, look, I mean, why should we listen to these guys? I mean, come on, Governor. Cardinal Law couldn't even go to the Boston College commencement across the street from his mansion. He couldn't go because the college says, we don't want you. That's just, you know, you can't have an effective moral body with corrupt leadership, can you?
No. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all.
So are you going to say to them, get rid of Law, get rid of Mahoney? Are you going to go over to the Pope and say, you guys got to go?
What we're going to do is examine an office, or excuse me, establish an office in Washington, consensus among our group, all lay people, all Catholics, all outraged, all mad, but all devoted to the faith. We want to put a cop, if you will, an ex-prosecutor in charge of that office, vacuum up what's being done in every one of the 190-odd dioceses in the country, identify specifically who's doing well, who's doing badly, how did we ever get in this mess, and make recommendations accordingly. You know, in our faith, unlike in my state, for example, the Southern Baptists are over 60% of the people. In my faith, the Pope appoints bishops, bishops appoint priests. Bishops can defrock priests, but we Catholic lay people only have authority by filling up the pews and by writing checks.
Yeah, but you can put
and I think that
pressure on
moral
these
persuasion.
guys.
Well,
You
I
can
think
put
we will, and
pressure
I
on
think
these
we
guys.
must, Bill. I think we will, and I think we must, because this faith is extraordinarily important to me, and I've got a day job. I have too many other things to do besides provide some kind of cover for a
I don't think you're going to do that.
Kind of
I
cover.
just see it as a...
Well, I know, but I'm saying we don't, any of these guys that are covering up ought to go. The
But they
question
already
is, how
have.
do we
We've already
establish the
proven that
facts?
Law did it. We've proven that Mahoney did it. Court records themselves say they did it. And they're not going anywhere, Governor. They're staying there in their lavish residences saying basically to the American people, hey, we don't care what you think. We're staying, and you can't do anything about it. I'll give you the last word.
Well, if that is the case, and obviously facts have to be developed and established quickly, then those individuals ought to have shame, ought to resign, and ought to let the church restore itself. But we, the lay community, intend to play our role in making sure that exactly
All right,
happens.
Governor. Check in with us when you issue your first report. We'd love to hear it.
Say a prayer for us all, would you?
I will. Listen,
Thanks.
I mean, I think it's a shame what's happened here. I think it's bad for America, but I'm still
An embarrassment
outraged.
and a sin.
Nobody looked out for these kids. The politicians, the priests, the cardinals, they let this happen. And to my dying day, I'm not going to, I mean, I'm not going to be that, I'm going to be angry about it to my dying day. Thanks,
Well
Governor.
said.
We appreciate it. And next, we'll wrap things up, the most ridiculous item of the day in some of your mail.
When my family found out I was on drugs, they were devastated.
It was killing them, you know, it was killing them.
Tears your family up more than it does you.
My dad was frantic, and he looked at me and he said, we're not going to gamble with your life.
I wanted to have my family back, and that's when my mother found Narconon.
If you or someone you love has a drug or alcohol problem, call Narconon today at 1-800-468-6933.
Experience the new National Geographic Channel. Spectacular new shows. Around-the-clock adventure. The continuing story of life on Earth every day of the week. A new channel. A new National Geographic. Log on to nationalgeographic.com and request the new NGC. Always wonder.
I could reach the stars, oh, on down for you.
true that I can change the world, I would be the sunlight in your universe. And if I could, I'd change the world.
We have your ticket for all the news and stats from the World Cup. Our expert commentators will keep you up to date on all the action from Korea and Japan. Ticket to Asia on Fox Sports World. Get your game.
Comment about the American tabulation of what is We'll come again next time.
Tomorrow, friendly advice or a partner in crime. As feds close in, have Martha and Inclone made a mess even the home decorating diva can't spruce up? That's tomorrow on Fox News Live.
Time now for the most ridiculous item of the day. As you may know, the Factor has been reporting on the lax immigration policies of Canada, policies Canadian officials have defended. Well, listen to this. The union that represents Canadian customs officials says that the Canadian government is putting the United States and Canada at risk by employing summer students to check the credentials of people trying to enter that country. Is this ridiculous or what? Of course, a spokesman for the Canadian government defends the practice, saying the program works well. Yeah, for the terrorists, maybe. Totally ridiculous. Kids on summer vacation checking credentials. Unbelievable. Finally tonight, the Mail smoking as usual about our report on homeless people sleeping in neighborhoods and judges defending the practice. Kathy Henry, Birmingham, England. Mr. O'Reilly, there once was a man who was unemployed, homeless, and who lived on handouts. His name was Jesus. The Bible says that whoever helps the least among us will be rewarded. God is reported. You decide. Well, the key word here is help, Miss Henry. Helping the homeless does not mean enabling them to continue living lives that intrude on their neighbors. Do you want a homeless person living in your backyard? How about across the street? The U.S. government has an obligation to try and help the poor improve their situation. It is not obligated to support them indefinitely. The chronically homeless should be given a shelter in a controlled situation and taught basic life skills. Those who refuse to support themselves should be subjected to vagrancy laws, and their children should be protected from them by the state. Paul Dawson, Troy, Missouri. Bill, is a lifelong believer in personal responsibility. I once found myself homeless. I moved out of California to the Midwest, and now I own a home. Jason Lake, Clemson University, South Carolina. Bill, if you want to protect your children from exposure to drunks and drug addicts, you may want to keep them away from movie stars and politicians. Oh, come on, Jason. I don't care what people do in their own homes, but if they don't have a home and they decide to wander around my neighborhood under the influence, that violates my rights. My kids have a right to a safe environment. Okay? Ruth Boston, South Berwick, Maine. I do not believe that I, as a taxpayer, owe the homeless anything. About the polygamist Tom Green, who has been convicted of raping a child, has 5 wives and 30 children. Vicki Robinson, Little Rock, Arkansas. O'Reilly, you should not comment on national TV about how many children a person has. Think about how Mr. Green's children must feel. Well, I feel sorry for them, Miss Robinson, but Green is irresponsible. He's a criminal, and I have a perfect right to let him have it. Howard Bartley, Mount Shasta, California. O'Reilly, all the people I know that watch you dislike you. Well, it's fine with me, Mr. Bartley, as long as they watch. Mike Hill, Sulphur Springs, Louisiana. Hey, Bill, when you say I'll give you the last word, what exactly does that mean? It means I have to wrap up the segment, Mr. Hill, before the computer takes us off the air, but I always reserve the right to correct any misinformation or spin. And Alan Weiss, Temecula, California. There once was a man named Bill who was far to the left of George Will, but right of Bill Clinton. You see what I'm hinting? He's fairer than Connie or Phil. Nice limerick, Alan. Copy the Factor book in paperback on its way to you. How about that website? www.foxnews.com/O'Reilly. You can get signed books on the website along with Factor gear. Now on Monday, next week, we got this nifty new Factor windbreaker, which is I mean, I don't even wear this thing. It looks great. If you want to get ahead of the curve, because there's going to be tons of orders, check the website out on that, all right? Also, how about emailing us with some pithy comments? O'Reilly@foxnews.com, O'Reilly@foxnews.com. Name in town if you want to opine. By the way, the Factor gear, a lot of that money goes to charity, okay? I'm not just shilling here. That is it for us today. As always, we thank you for watching The Factor. Please remember the Radio Factor on Westwood One each day. Hannity and Combs next. Newt Gingrich. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Hope to see you again next time. Remember, the spin stops here.
Next on Special Report, a California federal appeals court declares the Pledge of Allegiance unconstitutional because of the phrase "under God." The president calls the decision ridiculous. We'll talk to a constitutional expert. The president calls world